Hello and welcome back to the channel. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe so you never miss an update. Todoroki Toya Dabi. Whatever you want to call the flame boy with the Frankenstein cosplay or the roasted chicken as I like to call him, when it comes to popularity, Dabi is the second most popular MHA villain, after Shigaraki of course. And since I've already covered Shigaraki, it only makes sense to cover this cremating bastard and the eldest son of the Todoroki family. Chapter 1. The Mystery. The first time Dabi was shown is before his proper introduction, in one scene, a manga panel, where the character is standing outside a beauty salon, the place to get hair done. Then the character gets his proper introduction, in which he talks about his reason for wanting to be a member of the League of Villains, saying he goes by Dabi for now, as the word Dabi literally means funeral pyre, which lines up with his destructive fire quirk, signifying from the beginning that Dabi was an alias, and not the character's real name. He even tells Shigaraki, "I will tell you my name when the time comes," which intrigues the audience. What is it about his real name that is so important? So much so that it is actively being built up. Who is he? During the forest training camp, we actually get to see Dabi as the leader of the Vanguard Action Squad. This is also the first time we see Dabi actually using his quirk, flames. In the manga, the flames are colored black, while in the anime, we see their actual color, which is blue. Although Dabi's quirk still doesn't have an official name, the fans refer to it as cremation. But the most important thing Dabi does is, "Now sad for you, Todoroki Shoto," actively calling out Shoto by name. This sparked a whole bunch of theories, with Dabi also having a flame quirk gave birth to the Dabi Todoroki theory. This created a sense of anticipation of the inevitable meeting between Dabi and Endeavour. However, during the Kamino arc, Dabi is knocked out and Endeavour is outside, so it doesn't happen at that point in the story. Enter the Pro Hero arc. After Endeavour defeating the high-end Nomu, these two get a proper introduction. However, the former is visually impaired. And what does Dabi say? "Don't you dare die, Enji Todoroki." Now there was a pattern. Dabi referring to only Todoroki family members by their full names. It only further backed up the fact that he has some personal connection to the family. During the Endeavour agency arc, we learn about Toya, the eldest child of the Todoroki family, and how Toya supposedly died. We also learned that Toya had a fire quirk stronger than Endeavour, but inherited his mother's ice resistance, meaning Toya's quirk burned him. In the MVA arc, we also learned that Dabi's quirk burned his skin. So, the pieces were already there. As for his hair, we all assumed he dyes his hair. After the beginning of the Paranormal Liberation War, when the focus was on the heroes and Shigaraki waking up, Dabi fell onto the wayside until, "Don't get in my way, Takami Keigo." This is Hawks' real name, that the government erased from all records, and Dabi knew it. Hawks also said that on their records about the League, Shigaraki and Dabi were the only two who they couldn't find any information on, Shigaraki being hidden by the symbol of evil. This brought back the mystery surrounding Dabi, and added a further sense of tension, especially after Horikoshi dropped the black speech bubble. At this point, everyone accepted that he was Toya, with Dabi being awfully cheerful during the war, and kidnapping Skeptic, the tech guy. But then, Chapter 2, The Dance. It finally happened. Dabi arrived on top of Makia, pouring the liquid on his head, revealing the actual color of his hair, and his name, his real name, Toya, as Rei sat in her hospital room, as Dabi appears on the screen. "My name is Todoroki Toya, the eldest son of Endeavour, the #1 hero. Up to the time of this recording, I've killed 30 innocent people, and today, I would like everyone to know what drove me to such despicable acts." But it isn't much of a reveal. It is a plot twist in the way that it does twist a plot, and change the world and the story of My Hero Academia. But everyone knew that Dabi was Toya. If it was a shocking revelation, the chapter would have ended with the reveal itself. But instead, Dabi dances as it destroys Endeavor's public image, as well as his spirit. It was a celebration, a joyful revelation, rather than a reveal. That's why the chapter is called Dabi's Dance. Chapter 3. Character. According to Alfred Adler's birth order theory, the more children born, the more dethroned the eldest child feels. It is also seen in many cases with abusive parents that the child, while hating his or her toxic parent growing up, they are likely to develop those same qualities. Now, before I delve deeper into the character of Toya, let's talk about the man who started it all, Endeavour. I won't go into too much detail here, as I plan to make an in-depth analysis on Endeavour in the future. Endeavour. The word literally means to try hard and achieve something, as it represents the character perfectly. And he was so obsessed with his one goal, to surpass All Might, that he let everything around him fall to pieces. Similar to real-world arranged marriages, which are solely done to save a family financially or just ease up its burden, as to, well, feed less mouths. Since in a lot of Asian cultures, women are seen as burdens. So, I'm getting sidetracked. The Himura family married Rei Himura to Endeavour for financial support in what is known as a quirk marriage. The reason being that during his 20s, Endeavour developed the apex of all fire moves, Flash Fire Fist, which people saw Endeavour getting amazingly powerful for. However, to Endeavour, he hit a hard limit, his peak, one he couldn't go beyond. During the sports festival, we learned that quirks have limits. They are very much a part of the user's body, and like muscles can get torn when they are too burdened. Similarly, while Endeavour was resistant to heat, he wasn't immune, and using Flash Fire Fist caused him to overheat. So in hopes to combat his quirk's biggest drawback, he intended to create a child with ice and fire quirk to counter its biggest weakness. The first child was born, Toya. He had more firepower than Endeavour, though he didn't have an ice quirk. They also thought about another child, saying they could support each other. Fayumi, the second born, only inherited Rei's ice quirk. But Endeavour was satisfied, until he learned that Toya's flames hurt him. Apparently Toya inherited Rei's physiology, in that his body was resistant to cold temperature, but not heat. Her flames burned his skin. However, Toya was determined to live up to his father's expectations and surpass All Might, but his father had already given up on him. Endeavour, instead of confronting his son head-on, just tried to ignore him. Endeavour, however, was still trying to create the perfect child, and with both Fayumi and Natsuo having only ice quirks, he tried again in desperation, and Shoto was born. With Shoto's birth, Toya's greatest fear came to pass. He was completely thrown away to the wayside, replaced. Now, he just wanted desperately for Endeavour to acknowledge him. This also led to hatred for Shoto, because Endeavour was more focused on him rather than Toya. As when a child is neglected by his or her parents in favor of a younger sibling, the child may become desperate to get attention and associate the issue with his or her younger sibling, which is why Toya tried to kill Shoto, because to him, with Shoto gone, the entire problem would be fixed. However, Toya was wrong, and he accepted that. But Natsuo also ends up ignoring him in that crucial moment. As Toya says, the woman in this household can't understand. Which brings us to Rei. While Rei wasn't an active player in Toya's suffering, she was a submissive wife who didn't stand up to Endeavour and just accepted her role, which is why Toya blames her as well. And when your child starts to question his existence and the reason he was born, it truly means that the parents failed. Surpassing All Might wasn't Toya's dream, it was Endeavour's dream that he instilled into Toya. And one should never instill their own dream into their child. It makes the child lose their sense of self. During his puberty, Toya's flames turned blue, and he wanted to show it to his father, thus calling him to Shoto Peak. But Endeavour didn't show up, and Toya burned to death. Chapter 4. The Thematic Element. Now, taking a look at the character from a narrative standpoint, the themes or symbolism the character represents. Toya is the literal manifestation of Endeavour's sins, his past, and everything wrong with the Todoroki family. He is the ghost that haunts them, the dead son that rose from the ashes to burn his father. Toya said it himself, "The best never dies." That day, on Shoto Peak, Toya did die, and Dabi was born from the ashes. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, blood out.